We really should invest in one of those like soundboards so you could push buttons and have like
sound effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, like laughing.
Zoinks!
Yep.
Those kind of things.
Yep.
And
And then like the clapping, the crowd like.
Oh yeah, the yay.
Or like put up bump.
We'd have to have
It would make it a little more interactive though. Like if we had our own sound pads, then we were just like,
oh man, that'd be wack.
You say something, it's just like.
Yeah, stuff from like previous podcasts, like weird things that people say, like really
People
little
do
clips.
A great job with those type of
Yeah.
quotes. Yeah, completely out of context.
Yep.
You definitely don't want to shove it
creates,
there. And you're like, whoa, what was that?
Okay.
Yeah, it creates like this whole like language that's native to the podcast. I listen to this one.
That would be interesting.
Let's just start the podcast.
Okay, yeah. Hello, this is the Cowboys and Unicorns podcast. I'm David.
I'm Dan.
And we have the one and only...
The infamous...
Hit me? No.
Just kidding. Bobby Culbertson.
In our circles in this room, the
Cobby
infamous Bobby
Culbertson.
What'd you call him?
Hello, listeners.
I just switched his first letters, so Cobby Culbertson.
Oh, yeah. What was your Twitter handle? Gupster101?
Well, yeah, that was my like AIM messenger moniker when I first started. Any kind of online presence was Gupster01.
Is it
for somehow in 1997 someone had Gupster when there's only 25 AIM
people on there
usernames taken. How that happened, I don't know. But so I was Gupster01.
Are you still on Twitter?
I'm on Twitter, but everything I now do is Bobby Culbertson.
Except for
Twitter's Bobby Culbertson.
Instagram's
Gupster01 because I'm trying to remember why. I think it said like first name, last name, username, and then in my brain I'm like, I'm not going to put Bobby Culbertson, and for some reason write it twice. Like that's not allowed. I don't know. I don't know if that's a real reason, but maybe Bobby Culbertson was taken, so then I went for Gupster01. I think that's probably
what it was.
Makes sense. Are you one of those people that connects your Twitter to your Facebook?
I used to.
Okay.
I don't anymore.
Why did you choose to stop doing that?
There was too much, especially like hashtagging and adding that didn't reference in Facebook.
Yeah.
So like the point of whatever I was trying to do on Twitter would get lost on Facebook on that audience. So now I've separated the two.
Like I don't understand all those like Buffer and Hootsuite and all those applications where it's like post one message to 7 different social media at the same time.
For businesses, I could see it.
Businesses but that's like at my job they want us to do that. But
yeah.
Right.
But to me, it's like each social media has its own context,
and
so if you're posting, I don't know, they're all slightly different. I don't like posting one thing and just trusting that it goes to 7 different places.
The only time I like it is one if you're not going to comment towards anybody. Like I'm not adding someone or I'm hashtagging something specific. Hashtags still work, and it's a picture. Here's me at Niagara Falls, y'all, having a great day.
Yeah, that's true.
That is cross-platform, whatever the heck you want to do.
Right.
Yeah, post on Instagram, share it to Facebook and Twitter.
And that works fine.
But
other than that, like my ideas about the Stanton trade right now with the New York Yankees, it works best on Twitter. Because I'm getting people in New York replying back to me right now, and I'm having a conversation back and forth with them about why I think this was a bad move for the Yankees long term, and how they're like, well, if they win 3 world championships in the next 3 years, who gives a darn what the next 8 years look like? And I'm like, that's an argument.
But if you post on Instagram a photo, it shares great on Facebook.
Yes.
Obviously, Facebook
Twitter's
owns Instagram. And Twitter, it's a link to Instagram,
and
it's ugly.
Yeah, it is ugly.
But
I had people complaining about that every time I posted something on a picture on Twitter that then was automatically fed to Facebook, and that was starting my decision on cutting that off. Was people like, this doesn't link well on the Facebook side when they're going through their mobile feed because it was a link to Twitter on the Facebook side of things. And so they're like, this ain't that good. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I saw that and went, yeah, that's not that good. I should be purposeful. So then that's when I first found Instagram. People were like, you should do Instagram instead.
Yeah.
So then I did Instagram and doing it to Facebook because I'm rarely on Twitter now. And after today's discussion with different people in New York about Stanton, I kind of actually almost want to be on Twitter more. It's because I like arguing.
Twitter's kind of better for that scenario, though. Yeah. Like, just
I'm going to get more of the
putting
world
your thoughts out there and having other people see it because it's not like friend restricted. So if
yeah,
you,
but I got to at somebody famous that's or something popular that people
Right.
are searching. So
That's
hashtag Yankees, hashtag Stanton.
Yep.
People are going to be like, "What's this guy saying?"
Yeah.
I don't understand people who do that on Twitter though. Like the people who actually look through hashtags and are looking for.
I think I've done it once when it was something popular, like that posted on the trends,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Why is this a popular thing right now?"
Uh-huh.
Like Amelia Earhart, and you're like, "What am I? What?" And you
Yeah,
click on it,
right.
and it's like, "Oh, today's the day she was like gone forever." Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
You know.
Sometimes I wonder on that trending thing, like, is the trending personalized to my region or to my interests? Because, like, the other day I was at a Trailhead event and Salesforce event in Minneapolis, and I used the Trailhead hashtag, and when I was posting it said, Trailhead is trending. And I was like, well, of course it's trending. It's trending in this building that I'm in.
Yeah.
But no
Right.
way is Trailhead trending nationally. Like, I don't
know.
think so.
Salesforce is pretty important.
I guess
you get 20,000 tweets on Trailhead within a 5-hour span, it might be trending.
It might be.
Right. I guess I should have checked if other Trailhead events were happening all on the same day in different cities. That would make sense.
Oh, you were at just the cities one. Yeah,
I was at the Minneapolis one.
the
I was
Minneapolis
not. This
one.
was not Dreamforce. This was like a regional thing.
Right.
Unless it was happening in Seattle and
Chicago,
Atlanta and Chicago, then I could see that.
Yeah.
But
I think they're on it's like a tour event, so it's not
That's
like
what
they
I
all
thought.
happen the same day. It's like they were in Chicago
So maybe it
a
is
couple days
regional.
ago.
That'd be a good question to find out.
It's probably
or Twitter just wanted me to use it, and they're like, "Hey, this is trending."
Yeah. You're
But-
you're literally in a room where this is trending.
Which
you should
I
post about
was.
this. Yeah.
Like,
right.
the keynote room at the Hyatt in Minneapolis.
Yeah. And then the Twitter bot camera moves and it shows a picture of you. You should talk about this right now. We see you.
Bobby, can you comment on? So I'm not super educated, but I try to be on like net neutrality and what's going on with that. I don't know. You seem like a smart person that would know things
So I know.
about that.
I would say I know a little bit. The basic gist is that legislation was put in place, I believe, in the Obama administration, that essentially made it illegal for ISPs to. I think this is correct, but I'm sure somebody will correct me out there, which is fine. This is what it's for. But from my understanding, it prevents ISPs from being able to either change how they charge you based on what you use the internet for.
Right.
And also, like, they can't give preferential throttling of bandwidth for other companies. For example,
So Netflix can't do a deal with Verizon.
Netflix can't do a deal with Verizon that says we get preferred bandwidth
Yep.
with you. So that way they can.
Which they could turn around and offer to me and say, "Hey, if here's Netflix, Facebook, Amazon, Google."
But so while that sounds like that should be okay, right? Like, oh well, if somebody is in high demand, maybe we should give them more or charge them more or whatever. The problem is the antithesis is true.
Yeah.
Is it lowers the voice then and the availability of people who are maybe smaller,
Like competitors.
competitors or whatever, and just saying we're going to lower your bandwidth or you're going to make it more expensive for you to play in the same playground as
Right.
Netflix.
Right.
Where communications in general is not seen that way. Essentially, I think they made the internet the same as the phone infrastructure.
Okay.
Like you can't prefer treatment like this because this is a communication, not necessarily a right, but like
Like a utility.
But we're making
Yeah.
the playground, we're making the market a fair market for you to compete on, and what you're going to be competing upon is your content and if people want it or not,
Uh-huh.
instead of your availability to the market.
Yep.
And so that's what the net neutrality is we want a fair, essentially, market where ISPs cannot determine who gets the higher bandwidth or not to the consumer.
Right. So from the ISP's perspective, that cuts down on their ability to make certain deals, right? So like
True,
they why
might-
do they want to overturn net neutrality? Because they can
They
be
can make more
freer.
money.
They can make more money and be freer in
Yep.
in their business dealings.
Yep. And
and work with people who have a lot of money.
Yep.
The big four and
it
all
would
that.
Be, it would be. It's going to be completely money based, and so what's hard is it's like I can see the good, like what if I want to pay for the really high-end bandwidth service? Like, okay, here's the 20 meg service, here's the 50 meg, here's the 1,000 meg service that gets Netflix.
You're just like downloading movies like nuts.
Yeah, but then the other element is like, well, if you want Netflix, you have to pay for the $1,000 service.
Right.
Bummer, right? And if I want to compete against Netflix and I'm providing a streaming service, and when technology gets to the spot it's at, and you need 1,000 meg or 1,000 gigabyte or megabyte service in order to download my product, but the ISPs are like, well, for your consumers, it's going to cost them $1,000 a month for this 1,000 meg. Yep. Basically, it wipes my product out of the water. No one could buy my service.
You can't enter the market.
I can't even enter it. Yeah. So it's giving a fair playground. Now the opponents would say, "Listen, nobody was doing anything wrong before net neutrality came around. Why are we so afraid that something would happen?" Well, human nature being what it is, and capitalistic economies doing what it is, the idea is already out there now. Like, everybody now is aware of what you could have done, and so they're gonna do it. Yep. Comcast has already gone back on their promise of, they have like a vow or like a promise on their site or something that said, no matter what happens to net neutrality, we are promising to our consumers that we're never going to do this. And as soon as it came up to now the vote's going to be happening to remove it, they removed their promise from their vow from their website. So
isn't the head
tells you what their nature is.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yep. Isn't the head of the FCC used to work with provide
I think he was like a chair of Comcast.
I thought it was Verizon, or Verizon. Legal counsel for Verizon or something like that. Yeah. I mean, in 2005
he's
or something.
He's a communications dude. Yeah, he's a guy who would his history and his constituents would all benefit from him making a policy that says, guess what, you now can play like this and make a crap load of money. Yeah. I think that's it in a nutshell. I'm sure we'll have a few people. Probably Gabe knows of something I'm missing of the that's probably core to the discussion, but that's how I interpret it so far.
No, that's helpful.
Is that just one of those things, like, since we have mostly Republicans in office now, they're like, let's just find everything that we can easily undo that was done by the last people in office, and we'll just revert it back just for fun.
Just in general, like deregulation in general.
Yeah, I mean the problem is, it's like you need the perfect harmony of both regulation and deregulation.
What is that, Bobby?
Let's talk.
Tell us the answers. Isn't the FCC the same?
In my mind, if your priority is people, you'll probably start doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But if your priority is the company, the dollar, the advancement of GDP, the growth of a nation, the da-da-da-da, instead of people, compromises start happening at those levels, and you're less about people and you're more about the dollar.
Yeah.
So regulation at its core is trying to protect people.
Right.
Now, you can argue whether or not the regulation is doing that.
Yep.
Or is it hurting more people than it's helping? Yeah, you can. That we should be arguing.
Fair
about
game.
that.
Yeah. But isn't the FCC the same group that limits the swear words we can say on radio?
I believe so.
It's the 5 words you can't say or something.
7
or 7.
That whole
Yeah, we looked that up a few weeks ago.
And they're strange words too. They're not like the words that you would expect if you had to pick 7.
One of them's cocksucker.
What would be the 7 words we would pick that you can't say?
Well, like you would think racial slurs would be.
Like the N-word's not on the list.
And it's
How is that not on the list?
Well, they're like from 19. Let me look it up. But it's like, it was established like
it's a little hilarious.
Way long ago. So
because you can say hell and damn. I mean, those have different meanings. But you can't say shit on television or radio.
Wasn't it like...
So in 1972 is when they set it up.
Okay.
And can you check if cocksucker is on there? Because I think that's hilarious. Like, that's a very specific
that
combination of like,
what's funny
don't
is
say this one.
That's the word you use in Bull Durham. Well, when you want to get thrown out of a baseball game, they're like calling ump a cocksucker.
Really?
You're going to get thrown out of a baseball game. Like, that is the key word. You say that to an umpire, you're gone. So if you want to go... Make sure you just call an ump a cocksucker and you'll
So
be gone.
piss is on there.
What?
Bob. Like, out of all the 7 words, piss.
Tits, though? Really? So I agree with the MF. I agree. That cocksucker's kind of a funny one. But
Like, if you had to pick 7 words, I wouldn't put it on there, but I can
the
see
C word
it.
I see.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I mean, that's... But piss and tits.
Yeah.
I don't know about those.
Right.
That'd be funny if like your local radio DJ though in the morning was saying those.
It's all kind of tits weather out this morning, folks. You mean I want to go outside and take a piss? You're going to get it all over yourself. It's crazy windy out. Yeah, that'd be funny.
I could see piss being the easiest one to slip out, though. Like, super, like, just to be like, I'm pissed.
Yeah, I'm
like,
pissed, or I went to go take a piss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that one, I don't
That
know
one's
how that
really
one's
weird,
on the list.
but-
I think that one seems to me like some cousin of an aunt, like, really didn't like it, and she just convinced the guy who made the decision, like, you need to put this word on there.
Yeah.
Or you're not coming to Thanksgiving dinner next year.
Right.
But now we live in the age of the internet, so who
Yeah.
cares
Do what
about
you want.
censorship?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, radio's kind of, who cares? But it's kind of interesting, like, doesn't that fall into, well, it probably technically doesn't. I don't know the, like, specifics of free speech, but, like, who decided that you could choose that those 7 words can't be spoken on the air? Like,
I don't know.
isn't that censorship of, like...
Usually what people argue is the right not to hear something. So, like, you've got radio, which is pretty, like, general audience. People have the radio on all the time.
Then how is
So
it
just
not
like
a
the-
bigger list of, like,
Yeah,
the
I'm surprised it's not a
120
big list.
things that you can't say? Because there's far more offensive things.
Yeah.
Right. But just
Well,
like...
ass and bitch are other things as besides just swear words, so that's why those are not going to be on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, that's
Like,
true. Like
what are the other
technically-
words you would throw up on there? And when I look at that list, you're like, yeah, the C words, cocksucker and cunt.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you probably, like, I don't want to be hearing that with my kids in the car.
Right, where you
certain.
just turn on the
Right.
local radio station and then...
And a guy goes off saying that stuff. Yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
this isn't great.
Right.
Right.
Even though, weirdly enough, like, my kids have asked me what are the swear words, and I've gone through just about all of them with them. And we've talked about them and be like, you don't need to be afraid of it, but I'll give you a hint right now. You should probably never say these things. If other kids are saying these things, like on the playground, at lunch table, or whatever, there's something else wrong going on. Like,
Right.
your 6-year-old best friend should not be saying motherfucker,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yep.
something's wrong there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You should probably be telling a teacher about that because like that's not right.
Yeah.
So, but I want them to know what they are, so they know what it is when they hear it, what it means, what it could mean, and so they're educated about it.
Yeah.
And can make
So,
good decisions. So,
Bob, have any of your kids been upset enough that they've like sworn, or are
No.
they not? They're not to that.
no, they know when I do it, and they call me on it. So
Okay.
they keep me accountable at the home. I pay them a quarter every time I swear.
Oh wow.
Yep. So they keep me on track.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
So-
a good incentive.
Yep. I mean, and they know, but Daddy, you shouldn't say that. There's different words you can say.
Right.
You're right, sweetie. There are different
Yeah.
words I can say. So I should say.
So when we moved from California, where I was born, like basically grew up in like this super close church bubble, right? So like I just had no understanding of like culture and like outside world, and that was like till I was 9.
Yeah.
Then when we moved to Minnesota, up to like just a rougher, like right by a Native American reservation and just all this stuff, like me and basically all my siblings got into swearing like
Yeah.
crazy, and I'd be upset and I'd be calling my mom or swearing at my sisters and stuff. So,
Moves to
but I
Minnesota,
thought it was
start swearing.
Yeah.
so that was like I don't know, maybe like 10, 11 that I
Yeah.
started like swearing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
And so,
Dude, you
kinda
were cool, Dave. You should have kept that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
We haven't told you, but because you don't swear that much,
You're not cool.
Yeah.
So, my dad, I swear at my mom or something, and he goes, "Hey, let's go downstairs." And
Where my big bar of
Yeah.
soap is.
no, actually, he did the complete opposite thing, which actually worked for me.
Okay.
Was because I thought I was cool. He goes, "Hey, son, so you started swearing now. Like, what words do you know?"
he just instantly made it uncool.
He just starts like rambling through the words, and he's like, "Do you want to say them? Like, obviously you want to say them. Yeah. Like, let's swear together, son. And so then
that's
he's
perfect. I think that's great.
He just starts going through all the words, and I'm just like,
you swore at your mom, Dave?
I was a really angry bad kid.
I swear with my mom. So
that's better.
Yeah. Our culture was different growing up,
right?
Probably than your guys' too. It not swear heavy, and I've talked this on the other podcast, but just it was common. Right. It was just common language. As I've gotten older, like even me just saying them now, like we're saying them for like what's like education, like
right.
Is this word the
for
right
conversation?
Word? For conversation. But I'm greatly trying to reduce my just cavalier usage of any of these words.
Yeah.
And want to be, like I always said, want to be purposeful with what I say.
Yeah, right. Intentional swearing. You should.
And I believe there are, just because of, I don't know, the culture in which I grew up, and it felt like that sometimes those are the best words.
Oh, I don't disagree.
Yeah. Well, I've had,
and others do, but which is fine. There's probably a different word, but in my culture, this would be the best word.
I think it's a cultural thing, because the piece is like,
but that culture's gone here. But my mom and dad have now moved to Morris.
Yeah.
So the culture's coming back.
Right.
But otherwise, like, that culture doesn't really exist here.
Right. Like, I'm not really for swearing, like, basically ever, because of that. I mean, basically the self-control piece that probably 98% of the time anyone's swearing, it's like out of emotion, and it's not like well thought out, like, like, what am I saying? Right.
Yep.
But like one of the only times that I've like intentionally sworn in like the last couple years was with this Native American kid who was like messing with drugs, and his dad was going to the church I was at, and like was like, do you want to spend some time with him and get involved? And he would swear all the time, and he was totally the kid who, wanted to test his oats and prove himself and be like, hey, you want to fight me sometime? Like, and so there was like 2 or 3 times where he obviously wasn't listening, and he wasn't going to listen, but when you're like, you say the words that are in his language, he then suddenly is like, oh, I'm listening.
Yep.
So culturally, I mean, for him to understand, like, you to get on his level and use the language that's the thing, right? Yep. Using the language that people are familiar with to help them like understand the severity of what you're trying to say.
Yeah. If you can never meet people where they're at, it's hard to pull them to someplace new.
Right.
But Dave, like, what about like if gangster movies didn't have swear words? Like, they wouldn't, like Scarface. Scarface doesn't have swear words.
Yeah.
Then they wouldn't be as good.
But none of us,
like that's like pretty much objective fact.
That is an objective fact.
It is a fact.
You go to like a dirty comedy special and they don't swear.
If they had the Good Place censorship, Goodfellas, and it turned into,
it would be funny.
Yeah, mother farters and benches and ships and shirts. Like, if it changed those,
it would be a great comedy.
Now, would that make a great like app or something that like you could put in a movie?
Oh wow!
And they would change the swear words to like to different words that they maybe said in the movie. Like if Robert De Niro ever said shirt, we're gonna change all the times he says the S word to shirt, and like take any clip of Goodfellas and it changes all the words. I just come up with $1 million map.
Right, like it would basically be like a DVD player that you have to use.
Yeah, dubs them over, but in a comedic way. Like, it's only good if it's funny.
Exactly.
Right.
80% of the time in all things, right? It's only good if it's funny.
It'd be so distracting.
But it's for that it's for that 15-second clip on YouTube that people are spreading.
Some of those 80s gangster movies, they have like 270 F-bombs.
Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
So they're really
I love those movies.
Great films. But
none of us are arguing though.
Along with Major League, and that one they swear.
Who's the one actor? He's the same actor in Goodfellas and Casino.
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. Yeah, it's like he's the same character in both those movies.
He only had like 2 roles. Yeah, yeah. He was Bronx. I mean, he wasn't in a Bronx Tale, I don't think, but De Niro was in all those. Goodfellas, Godfather, Casino, Bronx Tale. Those are all just classics. I haven't seen Casino in a long time. I should probably.
I
catch
watched
up
it
on that one.
like once, like 3 years ago.
Yeah, I'd have to watch that one again. But Godfather 1, 2. I mean, top of the
Godfather
line.
movies are great.
3, Sharp Dive.
Oh, he was in Godfather 2. He wasn't in Robert De Niro. He wasn't in Godfather 1 because he plays
The grandfather
the
or something?
father, not Michael Corleone's father. Michael Corleone's father. I can't remember his name right now. Who was played by Marlon Brando in Godfather 1. So he plays the young Marlon Brando.
Yep.
In
Yep.
Godfather
Oh, right.
2.
Yep. In black and white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When he stabs that guy in Corleone, just right from the gut, just bam, all over. That was a classic. When the first time I saw all the movies, or Godfathers 1 through 3, I was alone on a New Year's Eve night.
And you just watched
My
all three
folks
of them.
had a thing to go to from work, from my dad's work. My sister had a party. I had nowhere to go. I think I was in college. So I was like, home visiting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm going to watch The Godfathers 1 through 3 all by myself over New Year's. And I did. And yeah, Godfather 3 definitely is not one of those. You should definitely go see it. You should go see it if you like the first two, only so that
Right,
way
you
can
just have to kind of
criticize-
yeah.
only so you can criticize it well. But
It's kind of like the Rambo movies.
yeah, it's kind of like that.
Yeah. It's like the first one, and because you appreciate it and you appreciate Stallone, like
Mhm.
you're gonna watch all of them.
Yeah.
My problem with the Rambo movies is I watched like the latest one first,
Oh,
like the one that from like 2009
Right.
or whatever.
right.
Where Rambo's like a grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went
They
back
have,
and watched the first one. I was like, oh, this is actually good.
Yeah,
First one's bananas, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Those movies are like
Now,
on the
if
top
they
of my
make a
list.
VR Rambo game, holy! But how
That
many
would
of
be
these
so
things? I
crazy.
was saying about this about D&D. So we played
Oh my
D&D the other
gosh.
night, and I'm like, if they had a VR D&D experience,
yeah.
right? Now
be
take
crazy.
every other cool movie you've been in and make that a VR experience.
Mm-hmm.
Rambo, Rocky would be the easiest VR thing because you already have boxing VR games. Now you just change the thing to be Apollo Creed.
Yep.
And you basically, your brain
Yeah.
has infinite hit ability as Rocky, so you can get whacked a bunch of times.
And the streets of Philadelphia.
And you're
Not
the
about how
streets-
many
Yeah.
punches you could throw. It's about how many you could take and keep on fighting.
That's David. That is so good. I love that. But if they had a Rocky VR game,
That would be.
I
yeah.
would buy that so fast.
The problem with VR though is, I think I would get way too into it, and I would end up like breaking my arm, like hitting something near.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you know what I
probably
mean?
will.
Because
Yeah.
like even if I was in the middle of this room and you're doing something like where you're so like if you're doing Rambo and
Yeah.
you're running through the woods and it's like there's all these people and you just like have knives or
Yep.
like you're gonna like
Yeah.
dive
Yeah.
and then break your face
battling
open.
like hand-to-hand combat
Yeah,
and like gunfighting and stuff. Like VR is like that's the realm to play that stuff in. Boxing would be just
yeah.
oh, you're Bruce Lee and you got to go fight. Chuck.
Oh, Jackie
Chuck
Chan.
Norris.
Chuck Norris.
Oh,
You got to
Chuck-
fight Chuck
yeah.
Norris and like the Dragon. I think it's the Dragon Masters, the classic movie where they
Oh,
fight
yeah.
the Coliseum or something
Yeah.
like that. Like you got to go fight now. Whoop! Rolls a foot.
Yeah.
You're Chuck Norris. You got to fight Bruce Lee. Like
What's the
What I want is like for sports, like the Timberwolves are playing, and I just pay this whole pay my ticket price, and now I'm front row seats.
Yep.
And
Oh,
I'm
wow.
sitting on my couch at
a
home,
VR'd ticket.
except live,
That's incredible.
right? So like I'm sitting, and LeBron James is like whisking past me,
You know how many tickets they could sell of that, and it's the same seat,
unlimited.
unlimited.
Yeah,
Dan? That's your
That's what I
$1 million
want.
idea
That's
right
a
there.
fantastic
I
idea.
heard it somewhere else, so it's not my idea.
Yeah, but that's fantastic.
Yeah.
They did that. Baseball's starting to do that. They did it with a couple like ceremonies. So they put like a Samsung VR thing in the middle of a ring ceremony for the Cleveland Indians.
Huh.
And so anybody can then with the Samsung thing could connect up with their account and they are VR'd experience in the middle of the ring
Yeah.
ceremony.
Think how much money.
That'd be
Like no
incredible.
longer your ticket sales aren't like we've got 18,000 people in this arena in downtown
Right.
Minneapolis.
Yeah,
It's
we
just
sold
like
$4.5 million seats to the Twins Orioles.
do you know there's
on April 9th.
300 million people
Right.
in China who play basketball.
Oh man,
Play
Just to
basketball
watch it, just
like
watching
pickup.
that. Yeah, if you could get China watching America, that's how do you not make? That's how you make your sport international.
Right.
Is selling VR seats.
Like it's immersive.
Yeah.
And like you can turn around and see like the real dude who's sitting behind you who's eating popcorn and
I would like the next game I really would like to see is actually baseball, where you're in, because all of the baseball games, right, are from the viewpoint of the catcher when you're trying to hit.
Right.
But if I could stand up and be from the actual viewpoint of the hitter,
Oh, wow.
and I got to see Randy Johnson throw 98 miles an hour, like that changes the game completely. They already have like a home run derby VR game, a few of those.
Yeah.
But if I gotta go face Roger Clemens,
Yeah.
Pedro Martinez in his heyday, Sandy Koufax, like, oh my gosh, that would be so insane. And think of just the training element, like, well, all winter long, I'm going to do my battles against Pedro today, like, right?
Wow.
Or if you're Mike Trout, I'm going to do my battles against CC Sabathia right now because I haven't been hitting that well against him in Yankee Stadium. Well, let's go to Yankee Stadium at night and let me play against CC.
Bobby, VR disc golf, where you can actually be like a part of Worlds, like you're playing against.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Play
You could
against
pick
Ricky.
the year, and then you're like literally can play against the people.
Wow.
That would be crazy.
And it would be nice if you had a net, right? You actually had to throw a disc.
Yeah, you'd have to
Like,
actually
there's
throw
sensors on the
something.
disc, and it could determine kind of like golf.
Yeah, kind of like the
censorship or
golf.
whatever. But VR, I'm excited for where VR is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never talk to our wives again.
They will be playing with us. I
Yeah.
mean, so Disney's going to have a VR Battlefront essentially game in the new Disney World Star Wars edition section at the MGM Studios or whatever they're called now, Hollywood Studios. And so they're going to have a VR cooperative. You're a hidden stormtrooper who's penetrated like the Death Star, and you got to go
Oh, wow.
like battle. And so they'll have an actual place you walk in a building with your 4 friends that's simulating of the map of whatever the world is they're in, and you got to go fight, and you got guns, and you got to go shoot, blast. Like, that is what I'm talking about, of taking people in their fantasy experience of Star Wars or Rambo or whatever, and you get to try.
Yep.
How many of us have? That's always what you played as a kid, running around with guns, and you just or lightsabers, or you're the good guys trying to fight the bad guys, and you simulate that.
So
I'm
what-
Luke
the qu-
Skywalker.
the-
I'm Darth Vader. and
The
you run
question
around.
I have is, do you think that will improve people's like capability for imagination, or do you think it'll decrease
that decreases imagination a little.
But
That's a good question.
or it could decrease it because you're like, I'm outsourcing my imagination to VR, or it shows you possibilities that you never would have thought of. Like, you don't, for people who don't have a very active imagination, you're like,
Right.
you start exercising it more.
Or,
or
is it
you
only
realize
become
po-
like golf, where only like rich white people could do it.
VR.
Yeah, because you got to pay to play, right? I mean,
Right.
there ain't no free VR set.
Right.
Right.
You have to have just your VR basement, you know?
Yeah.
Today in the news, rich white people get fatter because of VR.
Because of
No,
VR.
because they're actually getting up and moving. Because you're
Yeah, it's different than the Wii.
VR, you
gotta
have
move.
to be a part of it.
But
it's
I've
not
done
just
a VR
moving.
at Dreamforce, but that was a sitting, and I
Yeah.
had little like acorn shooters.
Yeah, and you
I was-
pushed and moved
I
something.
just had things in my hand, little triggers, little guns, and I'm like just sitting and doing this. Do, 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 do. For those listening, I'm holding my hands up and just shooting my fingers like they're little guns.
Oh, you
I'm
actually
sick.
did like a shooter?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you're set in like the game was you're sitting in a log that's coasting down the river, and you're shooting acorns at little things that you're trying to aim
Okay.
at that are alongside the banks of the river, the shore, and like little tin cans and
Yeah.
metals and things you're trying to hit.
Yep.
And you just have little guns that you're shooting acorns out of. But
That-
and it was sweet, like even just that,
Yeah.
Like
how
very
responsive
simple.
and accurate and very simple it was.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, I could totally see how training goes to VR with
Yeah.
SWAT teams,
Military stuff?
and
Yeah.
how just incredibly simple it is to
Yep.
create those type of environments.
Yep.
Especially if you do interactive VR, where like the good guys and the bad guys both have VR suits, and you're both in a VR simulation together,
So it's live.
so it's live.
It's like laser tag, but on steroids.
Laser tag, but on crazy steroids.
Right.
I like how on steroids is a common term of how we want to just up something.
Yeah.
When
Steroids.
The interesting thing, the thing that I'm interested in is like what markets will be created when so many things are virtual or digital that are real life.
that are real life.
So
now.
like coffee shops now that advertise no Wi-Fi,
yeah,
where it's like go like the nostalgia,
Go
the
talk to
nostalgia
people.
of like going to a
Right.
bar or
Yeah.
coffee shop where you don't have access to the internet and you have to talk to real people.
Yeah.
Because 90% of all interaction is in a VR world or
Yeah.
something, and you're like, hey,
Right.
we're actually going on a hike in a real forest.
Yeah, we're gonna.
and and then there's 5% of the population that's like, yes.
yeah,
And
the
then
other
you make a little business out of that.
yeah, you're gonna make a business out of hiking, like
Yep.
walking,
Yep.
This
smelling
curated
trees.
forest experience.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just like, this is the imagination zone, and they give you a stick, and they're like, this is your sword. Go play.
go play. Yeah, like adults have to go play, and they're like, I don't know, what's your name? I don't know my name. Like, and just
Right.
completely confused.
What's
anymore.
your username?
Yeah, what's your username?
Yeah.
Well, I'm Death Dragon 79. Oh, Death Dragon 79.
Oh, it's you.
I know you. Oh man, yeah, you're right though. Like, what will it hurt imagination or help it?
Well, I remember growing
It
up.
expands the imagination capabilities of developers because now you have to develop new worlds. So, like,
Right.
imagination for older people might
Except
get better.
for that, you can just reuse like all the classic movies and
Oh,
all
yeah.
the classic like
That's the
sports
first
events.
Rung. That's
like
the first rung of VR.
so easy. Like you have like 25 years of material
Oh, yeah.
of just
Tons
like
of tons of repurposed
historic
content.
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
that you can
that's
just put
totally
into
true.
VR.
Well, and then you upgrade the next level to the next level to the next step. Like Madden. Madden's been around forever.
Right.
It just keeps getting better and better and better.
Right.
And better. Like, if you're a VR quarterback,
Yeah.
think about that. Like, Madden is now VR, and you're the QB, and
Yep.
you gotta.
And then
throw
there's
passes and stuff like that's.
and then Clay Matthews is actually running at you to tackle you.
Yeah, and you like your chest vibrates violently, and you might get like an electric shock if he sacked you or something like that.
Yeah, you would have to have like a full suit too.
Oh, that'd be crazy.
The question is, as you go deeper and deeper and deeper, like, will the distinction between, oh, this is real and this is virtual, will that begin to fade? Like, even in people's minds, right? Like right now I've got real friends and I've got Facebook friends,
Sure.
right? Like
yeah.
there's a difference between that.
Yeah.
As we go farther down the rabbit hole of
Mhm.
digital experience, does that idea even begin to fade? Is virtual reality just as real as reality?
Ooh. Right, like is there going to
Like,
be
why not?
Yeah, why not?
What if the experiences I have in the virtual world are more thrilling, more sensational, more sensuous, more?
Well, it's like, okay, so you think D&D. Well, if you actually just have Skyrim that is virtual reality and there's other players on this endless map where you just pick who you are and you just like,
Yeah, I don't know how the board game survives if they do a D&D like
Right.
VR.
like you would just basically be able to say, here's my character, and you could have your friends from their house join up with you and you just walk around. You could meet people from all over the world and be like, it would actually be real people in towns. Like,
Don't you think things just scale down to their appropriate size for the time though? Because like we were talking about radio earlier. Radio was huge, right, in the 40s, and then TV comes and disrupts radio.
Yep.
But radio remains, it's just not as big.
Yep.
And we've got
it's just
we've
for
got
driving
print,
in the
right?
car.
Print has
Mhm.
had this huge upending in the last 10 years. And people
So
are trying to
would you
figure it
say
out.
VR
But
would-
if you're just like,
wouldn't have the
if we
boom
just
come down?
downsize the New York Times and say, okay, we don't have thousands of reporters all over the world, but this is what the New York Times is, and it's
Mhm.
just smaller.
Yep.
It's small enough to still make a profit and still be successful and still produce quality work. So maybe the D&D, the card game,
It would just get
it
smaller to
stays,
what
it
needs
just
to be.
scales down to, I don't know.
I think there will always be people who appreciate one over the other. There's always
Right.
people who are going to appreciate the VR over the real, and some people are like, I need the tactile. Think of Chris Hansen, right? He's like, give me my 45s, my classic boots, my beard, my 78-9 Cutlass. Like, everything he does is
Yeah.
still in the 70s and 80s, right?
Yeah.
That's what he loves. It's more
Yep.
tactile and more real to him
Yeah.
than a lot of the things that other people are doing for fun or entertainment or quality enjoyment or whatever.
Yep.
Like, that's what he enjoys.
Right.
I think there's always going to be that. But yeah, it'll shift. I think there will be definitely training. VR, it simply sees like the number one application is going to be training,
Yeah.
right? They're already using VR flight simulators where you can actually log your hours to be a pilot.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
So because they're getting that good. So a full-on flight simulator where the whole thing is shaking and it's a VR kind of experience, not over the headset, but multiple cameras. It counts as training for actually being a pilot. So I think is going to be entertainment. Obviously, entertainment and training, right, are probably two main tracks where VR is going to go. And will anything beat the experience of being front row at a basketball game? Really there? No way.
Yeah,
you
eating a hot dog.
The players run by you, right?
Yep.
But a VR experience front row is going to beat the hell of a lot of the nosebleeds of a basketball stadium.
Yeah.
Right?
Or my big screen TV.
Or my big screen TV.
Yep.
Yeah. There are some they're just going to get an upgrade with VR. And that's okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not against it.
Yeah. I think that's okay. So.
Not against advancement. Yeah. There's still books.
Yeah.
Still drop on the table.
Yep. Books. And I'm actually reading. What's interesting, I'm reading more. I'm 25% through my 5th book of the year, and that was my goal, was to read 5 books this year.
Actual paper books, every single
books. Well, no. The one was an actual physical paper book. The rest have been
Kindle or
Kindle books.
Okay.
Yep. So I read the Peacemaker book. I read The Art of Revelation. I read Raptureless. I read Choose the Life, about discipleship, and then from Bill Hull, and then I'm reading his other book about the disciple-making church right now.
Okay. So
I'm quarter of the way through that one. I don't know how I'm going to read a fantasy book. Or not like a fiction book. Yeah. I bought one. Yep. I'm going to read it. Like, that's going to be my next book after this one, is I'm going to start the year 2018 with a fiction book and see if I can go there again. Okay. I haven't read a fiction book since 8th grade.
Yeah, I can't get excited about fiction books personally.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to be able to have, like, if I'm going to spend time reading something, I want to feel like it's like able to impact like my way of thinking or my everyday life. Not that I'm
apply it.
Like, I'll watch a movie if I want to go into another world.
That might be more where I'm at. I don't know. But it might if I'm immersed in the story, it might help me with my problem of enjoying reading. So it's hard for me to sit for longer than 30 minutes reading.
Yeah. Physically,
mentally, it was hard for me to read as a kid. Some doctor said I had ADD. Who knows? But so it was hard for me to read. I never enjoyed it, so I didn't do it. I was a good test taker, so I could not read books and still take tests and still pass. That last time I fully read a book, probably before my end of college, was 8th grade. I was able to go all the way from
a fiction book,
any book, all the way through.
Wow!
And that was like a fiction book. It was like baseball and pizza, a guy who was like a pizza delivery guy or something, and he also played baseball.
Books are like that's the way I learn. Like the first thing I do if I go, I need to learn this, is I go to Amazon and I buy the book.
Yeah.
And I sit down and I read the whole book.
But okay, so learning is an element.
I'm not like a hands-on learner. I'm a
learning about electrical. I grab my Black & Decker electrical book.
Yeah.
So when I want to go redo the electrical in my garage, so I did a whole circuit, changed the whole sub panel, did the whole putting it through the ground and everything. Did all the conduit, did everything myself. Bought a book, got the book, got the electrical book, went through the electrical book first, supplemented with YouTube, the father you never had, supplemented with YouTube.
True.
And then was able to do it.
The thing about books is they're still the most nuanced, comprehensive way to package material, to package content. Because I could go read 17 blog posts, but 14 of those are going to have the exact same content in them, and they're probably not going to go over 2,000 words.
Yeah.
And so
that's a good point.
A book is still the way that experts communicate knowledge in the deepest and most nuanced way possible.
In a book, it's expected to communicate all of the knowledge. If I'm talking about this subject, I'm going to cover all of the facets of the subject to you.
Yep.
That's why I'm writing.
I'm not going to hold
book.
Anything back in a book.
Right.
In a sermon or something like that, or any type of upfront communication, a speech or whatever, you may convey one aspect of whatever it is you're talking about. And people are like, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Yeah, but that wasn't the point of why I was speaking today. Like, a book, you do cover all of those things. You have to.
Yep.
Yeah, whereas YouTube, you're either going to be like, I'm going macro, here's a high-level view, or I'm going really detailed on one aspect.
Yep. That's very true. Yeah, the book helped, the Black & Decker electrical book, for example, helped me know the full span of what I needed to do, and all the code of like where do I need to put the staples, how far in between for holding the electrical line on the studs. Like they need to be every 2 feet or whatever it is.
Right.
And then how high do I need to make each of the, and the boxes need to be 48 inches here or whatever here. How deep do I need to go where I need to use conduit, or can I go any deeper and not use conduit? And it told me everything I needed to know.
For what project was this?
This was running electrical wire from my house to my garage.
Okay.
And entrenching everything in between and putting in a sub panel in the garage and doing the whole spiel. Never done that before, but I got 90% of what I needed from the book. The things I was looking for from the videos was the technique.
Right.
So
I can
like,
see it.
Like, okay, I strip the wires here, but is there a good way to strip these wires? Because I'm having a hard time, right?
Yep.
Underground cabling is a lot different. That shielding is way different than normal UF cabling that you have in your house, right?
Sure.
The normal cabling. It's way harder to try to strip away. So I'm like, there's got to be a better way to do this. The book's not telling me. Like, I
Right.
gotta
For
see a dude do it,
Yep.
Yeah. So I think experience in books, you're probably right, Dan. Books is going to be way comprehensive. Get you that place where somebody could ask someone with experience the right questions. Like I could ask an electrician, how do you do this? Because I'm having a hard time, and I know I need to use it, but what's the best way?
Yep.
And the experienced guy could tell you.
I have a hard time. So for learning, it makes sense. But you love reading books, right?
Yep.
How do you do it? So I used to read a lot, but now that I've had a desk job for the last almost 3 years now, I can't sit down, be like, I'm going to sit down now and spend more time reading something. You look at a screen all day long. Like I have a really hard time getting excited about sitting down and reading.
To me, I like it because if I'm at work all day looking at a screen, I'm probably going to spend some screen time after work, but I don't want to spend another 4 hours at a screen in the evening. And so I like reading real magazines and drop on the table books,
right?
Because it's a different headspace. It's not as distracting,
right?
And I think it's a little more calming.
Sure.
It's not as frantic. And so it's like, to me, it's helpful before bed to set my phone over there, sit down with a book, and then it forces you to be more focused.
How many books you read a year?
It depends on the year.
This year.
More than 10?
Yeah.
More than 20?
Maybe
probably
around
closer around that number.
Around 20, maybe.
That's pretty good. Yeah, my goal next year will be 10. I'm going to double from 5 to 10. Or even get to 12, one a month.
Yeah. I'm trying to get more into fiction, like you guys were mentioning before, because I've been on a nonfiction for a long time.
Yeah.
But fiction's way easier to read more.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Because of the style it's written in, and nonfiction.
You don't have to. You're so intent on trying to understand everything that's going on.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can kind of. It's that creativity thing. You can picture it all your own way you want to, instead of being like, well, what's this author actually thinking?
It's a style, too, in which it's written.
Style.
It's written so that you turn the next page.
Yeah.
Like the author is thinking, I got to keep this interesting. Yeah. Whereas nonfiction, that's less of the goal. Like, if I'm writing a book on marketing, I'm not trying to make a page turner where I end the chapter at the one point where you go, crap, I need to read the next chapter.
Yeah. Yep. Nope, that's super true. Yeah, because when I read through a chapter in my books, I'm like, great, that was great. I ended a chapter. I can start the next chapter tomorrow.
Me too. Yeah. In a nonfiction book, you're like, I did my chapter for the day.
Yeah, exactly. If it was 3 pages, that was a chapter, I'm done. It doesn't matter, but...
Just like the Bible.
Yeah, just read it.
I did my chapter.
I'm done. It's interesting, the nonfiction. There's also have you ever done the speed reading where it keeps the words in a stationary position? Have you seen this? So if you go
like on a Kindle or something, and they just
Kindle
scroll past you.
No, watch. I'll show you. So there's a stationary speed reading technique that shows that you can actually increase your words per minute by a lot. Like 600 words a minute.
Dang.
By keeping the words in the exact same spot on the screen and just flying through the words because your eyes don't have to move.
Oh,
I've heard of that.
So you save the time in moving your eyes because the words are just flashing for you, right?
Huh.
So I was just playing with. So I got this fiction book called "Deaf to Be the Wizard." Oh, it's Deaf to Be the Wizard. Off to Be the Wizard. I can't read. Deaf to Be the Wizard. What the heck book was?
I was like, what
Deaf
is this
yo,
about?
Deaf yo to be the wizard, yo. 2 ways to read. Blah 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 blah. Show me whatever. Okay, next.
What's the app called?
Kindle. I'm in my Kindle.
Oh, okay.
app.
There's just a different setting.
So
or?
there is. It's called WordWise. No, it's not. Lied. Shopping Kindle share progress. X-ray. Is X-ray it? That's not it. No. What the hell, man? Share progress. WordWise. I thought it was WordWise.
Nice socks, Dave.
Dang it.
Hey, thanks.
You guys figured it out. La 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 la. La.
Where'd you get them?
Where is it?
Target.
Target.
Boutique. As my wife likes to call it. Okay, reading technique.
My wife went to Target yesterday, and I got my hair cut. She came back, and she's like, I just spent $90 at Target. I was like, what?
Too
easy.
So Haley went out shopping with my sister Hannah. Well, actually, they went to she was like, I'm going to go with her to a doctor's appointment. And then, we're going to get lunch. And then I'm checking my bank account because I'm paying some bills. And I'm like, $140 at Target today? It's okay. She bought me Christmas presents, so.
Right, yeah. My wife got some Christmas presents for other people. I'm not trying to throw her under the bus. It was all stuff we needed.
All stuff? For sure?
Well, probably most of it was stuff we were going to give away for Christmas, but if the bank account can survive Christmas, then you're good to go into the new year.
That's very true. Especially, our family keeps growing, and then, now I have in-laws and everything, and so there's that. This year, so what we're doing is we're drawing names.
Okay, I hate my life. I don't know why I can't find it.
Bobby's
Sorry,
has no technology ability.
But it keeps it in the same spot, and it goes really fast, and you read faster, and it's amazing what you can comprehend. So you're sitting there and you're watching the words fly, and you're like, I understand everything that just went on.
So the
it was 600 words a minute.
So the words are just moving across the screen.
It's not across.
One word at a time?
It's one word at a time. It's flashing through.
Okay.
On the screen. And it'll leave longer words a tiny bit longer on the screen. I guess they have an algorithm, a percentage of words about whatever on speed. But if you can set it that the starting setting is 450 words a minute.
Do you find that you have to focus harder, or it's just as easy as reading?
Easy.
Does it give you a seizure?
You need to start. Yeah, it could. You need to progress to get to 600, 700, 800 words a minute. But you could start at 500 words a minute, no problem, and you'd be like, I can't believe I'm understanding this already, and it's just flying through.
Do you ever listen to podcasts or books or anything at 3 times the speed, or 2 times?
I haven't tried that yet.
So,
but I think I want to. Yeah.
I just started doing audiobooks, and listening to it at one time, the normal speed, is, I now understand after hearing some people talk about it, it's too slow. Versus when you realize you can go 2 times speed is about all that I can really do. At most 1.5, unless I'm no distractions listening in the car and it's loud enough.
It does make you focus a little bit more.
But yeah, you're focused because you have to keep up with the speaking instead of there's pauses and breaths and your mind wanders off during that time. So 1.5 speed or whatever.
Yeah, I'll do things at 1.5 sometimes.
Word runner.
Oh.
So 475 words a minute right there. Just going to say 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, interesting.
That looks slow.
Wait for it. That was just, so that's 400 many Christians. Okay. Looks slow, right?
My eyesight isn't good enough, so I can't.
Oh, that was because it was at 125 words a minute. Let's go to 500.
Whoa.
Oh man.
But you can process it, right?
Yeah, you would still get like probably 80% of what's going on.
You still get it. I could see reading a fiction book this way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to really like nonfiction books. If you see these books, like this is the Bible one, that the church discipleship one I'm reading. I have highlights everywhere, right? And summaries that I want to then take later and
take notes
and talk about, right?
That is
but
the
a
thing
fiction
with
book.
audiobooks.
I would sit there and just fly through that, right? Just it's like a fire hose.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun,
Bam! Maybe that would be the only way I could read Lord of the Rings. But the other problem I have is then it's the screen part. The backlit. Like if they did that on a real Kindle, it'd be nice. But they can't because the dissolving couldn't go that fast.
Oh, interesting.
Of that type of page. They couldn't go that fast. But all right. Word Runner. That's what it's called, listeners. If you have a Kindle app on your phone, tablet, whatever, Word Runner. There's actually a Chrome extension too. You could get a Chrome extension. You can paste any word, any context of text.
Oh, really?
And throw it into a Chrome extension. It'll do it for you.
Oh, I'm going to try that then.
Yeah, because you could take like a blog post.
It's called.
I don't think that's called Word Runner. I'll find it for you. We'll put a link in the description.
Yep.
But you could then get any body of text and paste it in there, and then pick your speed, and away you go. 50 blog posts before 8 a.m. and your boss will be like, wow, you read so much.
Dan, you cut your hair and now your brain works so much better.
It works so fast.
Do you ever read like articles on Forbes?
Most of the time when I do, it's because of like a baseball context.
Okay. you know that little thing that pops every time you click on one, like from a search engine, and there's like quote of the day and then 4, 3, 2, 1. There's a Chrome extension specifically to get rid of that thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Chrome extensions
it's like
are awesome.
Like a not Forbes. I don't know, whatever that's called. It's like a weird way of advertising.
It's like a modular or a modal. So there's words for like that type of a pop-up.
Right.
There's a word for that, and it's probably just eliminates that altogether. Like, we exist because of advertising. No, you don't get rid of that quick.
Everyone's just waiting for.
Well, it's obnoxious. Like the local news sites, like Sun Tribune and everything, have started doing that. Like you have to complete this Google survey to continue reading the article, and you can click in and click skip, but it's just like stupid. Like, why do you do that?
Yeah, maybe they get $1 for every survey completed. And
I
old ladies like surveys. They don't know any different.
That's true. They're like, I have to do this to read my news.
Yep.
The usability suffers, but then you monetize it.
Yeah.
Money.
And you got to, right? Facebook's doing the ad 15 seconds after the start of the video.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I saw that the other day. So annoying. I'm watching
incredibly
NBA
annoying.
highlights.
Yep.
And it's like 4 minutes of LeBron scoring, triple-double, 38 points. And I get 15 seconds in. And you're like, come on.
Yep. I got
this is a great piece of content, and it's like sports.
Yeah,
it's
I got
live
like
action.
A speech from like Alec Baldwin that he was given about why this Trump thing is going way over, and like 15 seconds in, here comes an ad. I'm like, all right, I'm done with your speech. I don't want to hear anything else.
Right.
You just irritated me. But yeah, it's hard because I get why they're doing it.
Right.
You know, I totally get it. I understand why. But part of the reason I went off the cable is so I don't have to watch commercials. Like, that's part of the beauty of Netflix. A season. Literally, Whitney and I started The Crown season 2 last night. Bananas, by the way. That was awesome.
Okay.
I started off season 2. But no commercial. Just click. Away you go.
Right.
Click. Away you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I feel like Netflix is underpriced for the value that it brings. Don't you think?
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Because they're going to hear
Netflix,
this.
you are pricing correctly, officially.
Maybe a little,
unofficially.
maybe a hair expensive if you want to.
Could drop it $1. Yeah, you're totally right. Like for what we're
For
getting out of it.
entertainment value, it's completely underpriced.
Yeah.
Yep.
For $11, I can get
2 screens.
unlimited.
It's probably
content.
the most value for a subscription service. Like out of the box, because Amazon Prime, if you order a bunch of things, you can definitely get the value, but you have to actually do something.
Yeah, I'm getting less and see that's the problem with Amazon is I'm getting less and less on the ordering more things from Amazon.
Yeah.
Even though anything that is not like warrants a day trip to Alex.
Yeah.
Like, I have to buy on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I need the 2-day.
Yeah.
I always. Why do I need the 2-day? I don't need the 2-day. I've never.
Because you don't
I
plan
think
ahead enough.
one
Because
time in
it's
my life I've
become
needed the 2-day. I don't need my wood burning tip that for this project.
But now
2 days from now, like
now
I need
they've
it.
set the expectation though.
Yeah.
Like if you go on any shopping site, for the Christmas season, every single one of them, like says the words 2-day shipping
Yeah.
because Amazon has set the precedent that 2-day shipping is the
That's all you
standard,
need.
and that is what should be acceptable. Any longer is just
I don't have Prime.
ridiculous.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
4 to
Really?
5 free.
Yeah.
4 to 5 days. Yeah.
No Prime.
No Prime.
How many books? So you buy all your books on Amazon, or where do you buy your books?
A lot of them on Amazon.
Are you a library guy?
And no, I like owning my books.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build a library. So, like 3 years ago, I decided that I wouldn't own a book that I hadn't read. So I have my read pile or shelves, and then I have my to read because I really like buying books,
Yeah.
but I don't have enough
I
time.
don't know why I do either. I like it, and that's what's been my hard balance with the Kindle. Is one, it's so easy.
Yeah.
I download the book. I got the book now.
Yeah.
The other part is actually physically reading. So laying down, like I'm kind of in a reclined position right now, and having the Kindle in one hand, being able to advance my pages.
Sure.
Oh man, I love that.
You love that.
I hate having to sit proper
You're like,
on my couch holding a book with two hands.
Yep.
I just can't stand it. And so once I got to the Kindle, I could read more. Plus, I started using the Kindle when I was doing my Master's in Theology online. All of the books in the Master's in Theology program that I had at the time are 1,000 pages, crazy heavy, right? Textbooks.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I was, traveling back and forth every weekend or whatever, two, 3 times a week into mom and dad's house or Whitney's mom and dad's. And I'd have to do homework.
And you're holding these big
I'm
ass
holding
books.
These big books, right?
Yep.
No, Kindle. So I'd get these textbooks on Kindle. I can then also, when there was an open book test, the searchability of those was amazing. So I'd
Command
have
F.
one computer open with the Kindle app that have the book, and then my online test on the other computer, and I'd just search over here. Do.
So good.
Yeah. So I'm like, there's too many advantages. I got to go Kindle.
Yeah.
For learning,
And it's cheaper.
I like having the hard copy though. You can put in your
I know the hard copy's so nice.
My goal is though, someday I want a den where I can smoke cigars and have a smoking jacket and my desk and then
Yes.
a wall of books
I got like
that I
some-
have read.
Yeah.
And
got
then
like
I can
an
invite
accounting
people
book I could
over.
give you, and my calculus book or something.
this big book
Get rid of
stuff.
all
And then
your stack.
pour my whiskey out of those fancy glasses
Decanters.
out of the
Oh,
decanter
yeah.
and light your
That's-
cigar in my walk-in
You need to
humidor.
wear. You got to start now wearing suits so you're comfortable wearing suits all the time.
Yeah.
What if you started
That's
at
like-
work?
I'm thinking
wearing
more like
a suit
I'm
and a
thinking
tie every day to work.
I'm thinking more
Just
chinos and a
shame
sweater.
'em all.
Dan's just an executive in no time.
Yeah.
You look the part.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah.
No, my boss would make fun of me. She's all about jeans and hoodies.
Jeans and hoodies. Yeah, no suit.
Marketing
suit and
is
tie.
comfy.
Suit and tie,
I
and
don't-
just like classic '60s, right? Black, white, black tie. Blue, white, blue tie. That's it. Like those are your only, and it's just there's no variety,
no.
just straight and thin. Yeah, like,
Black shoes then only,
Yep.
and
all the time.
black belt. Nothing
I mean, I
interesting.
wear a button-up collared long sleeve every day.
Mhm.
Nice jeans, nice shoes. And I used to not be that way. I used to be like, I'm going to be comfy. Who am I trying to impress? And then I started thinking, I'm like, does my wife deserve me to try a little bit harder
Yeah.
every day? And I went, yeah, she deserves it. So in my mind, I was like, I should change a little bit because heck, she's got to look at me. I wanted her to know that, like, I want to try for her. So
This person has to live with me the
this
rest
person
of
has
the
to
life.
live with me, so I'm going to try to look good.
That's right.
So got some good layering sweaters, for
Nice.
my polos in the wintertime.
Layering.
And
Are you a
less
sweater vest
polos.
guy?
No, I've gotten rid of a lot of the polos, and those are only weekend working shirts now, or disc golf or whatever. And then I'll wear button-ups, collared shirts every day.
Polos are like faking it.
It is kind of like faking it.
It's like it has
Especially
a collar.
when it has the logo of the company on it. Like, everybody approves of this, but you're still not really working on her.
Right. See, the thing, I can't. Button-up shirts is always like, they never fit right. Like when you tuck it into your.
I got
That's
the
what
problem with
just
that.
bugs me. I feel like I'm always have like weird
Billows.
lumps and billows.
It makes you look fatter than you are.
Yeah. Well, they make so I've toyed with this idea, and toyed by mean it went like data Android second of 0.0136 seconds in my brain of wanting to do it. But they make a clip that can go to the end of the shirt.
Okay.
Like to either the bottom of your boxer or to the top of your sock. So the shirt is being pulled down.
Bobby doesn't wear skinny enough jeans, so
that's still feasible.
Yeah. So it would pull it down, and it would always be.
Huh.
Now here's another trick that does help.
Yeah.
If you have an undershirt, which I highly always recommend with a collared shirt,
for sure,
an undershirt, tuck your undershirt into your underwear.
What?
Here's what it does: is it doesn't get the second layer of billowing. Because what happens often is the reason why your top shirt will billow and want to rip out of your pants is because the undershirt is moving, and when that moves, it's going to cause the top shirt to move out. So tuck the undershirt into your underwear. Now, here's the only problem. You darn well better make sure that underwear is below the pants line, because people will then see that sucker coming out if your shirt moves up at all. So you got to be on the lookout here. It's a risk-reward technique, folks.
Isn't that the Garfield comics?
I know.
Comic strip?
Yeah.
I think that's the Garfield's owner, John, tucks his shirts into his underpants, and then so sometimes in the comic strips he's like a single guy with a cat. He goes on dates, and then he's like at dinner, and he goes up, and like his date can see that his shirt is tucked into his underpants.
Oh man!
Not just his undershirt, like it
looks like you did something wrong, but the problem is you're doing something on purpose. Like I'm literally doing this for function.
So, but Bob, you also get like high quality dress shirts too.
Yes.
Though. Does that make a big difference?
Yes.
Because that's the thing I think is, in reality, I buy the $20 shirts from Target whenever I'm like, I'm going to get a dress shirt.
Even if you go to Men's Warehouse, like you can get a shirt tailored a little bit.
One that's actually going to fit right, because that's the other piece probably is it's like, I mean, if you have an extra.
And it feels good to, I don't know why, but it feels good to spend a lot of money on really nice clothes. It just does. And when like when I step out of the bathroom and I put this on, I look good.
Yeah.
I feel better when I go. Even when I was in high school, I always dressed up a little bit on Fridays, because everybody dressed down on Fridays, and I was like, then I look twice as good as everybody else. And I
find the margins.
Yeah, I'm
white
like
space.
Also, right, you're trying to get girls. Like you want girls to notice you. I was kind of a nobody, but they knew I played baseball, so people kind of knew who I was.
Looking sharp on Fridays.
And with 1,000 people in my
Bobby's
class,
that guy who looks good on Fridays.
When you're 1,000 people in your class, you got to stand out somehow. So
we don't comprehend that at all.
Yeah.
Small towns our whole lives.
There were 685 in my graduating class.
Gosh.
But it was like 1,020 to start kindergarten.
That's like
class.
That's the whole student body for like a school in Morris. Maybe not quite, but that's probably pretty close.
For the high school?
For K through 12, 685.
Because the classes have
Each
got to
class
be
is
like
about 85 kids.
Right.
So you're getting close to that, 85, and you're talking 13 grades. 85 times 13.
I'm not a math
You're
whiz.
like, what, 1,200 or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
Calculator.
I think my graduating class in Morris was
1,105. So about a little bit over my class to start kindergarten.
Oh my gosh.
Your entire K through 12.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It just was, I knew the guy very well, Mike Crook, on my left on our graduation ceremony. Knew very well. Never seen the guy before a day in my life, the guy on my right. And we're in the same letters in the alphabet. He's Crook is C-R, I'm C-U. The guy next to me, his last name started with a C. Never seen him before.
Huh. Yeah, that's such a strange concept.
Yeah.
I bet it was weird coming to UMM then.
Very weird.
Because
I loved it because
1,800 people.
I liked that small community, though.
Yeah.
I knew that, like,
you actually knew
not that I would stand out, but I knew that
stand
I
out,
would
fit
make
in.
a difference. Like, I could be a part of something and not feel just like I was talking to my mom about something else today, but like a drop of food coloring in a lake.
Yeah.
Like, you don't see that.
Not just another number.
Yeah, but a drop of food coloring in a cup, you're going to notice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and being here was an element of that. Like, but my big thing coming out of high school was I wanted to play baseball.
Yeah.
And coming here Well, there were two big things. One, I wanted that I feel like I'm camping feel. I didn't want the city, so I wanted to feel like I was camping.
So he came to Morris.
Out of all the campuses,
camping
man,
in the
you
cornfields.
want to feel like you're camping. This is the place. I mean, when I saw that they had a horse barn on the map, when I was looking at like campus maps, I'm like, I got to visit this place. And so I visited with the baseball coach and walked around campus. I'm like, I could see myself walking around this campus. That's what my image of what college was. And he said, if you started in Burnsville, you would most likely you would play here. And I'm like, fantastic,
perfect.
So after my third game, I was starting playing baseball, and as a freshman, I was on fire. I was like, this is fantastic.
Right.
So yeah, I wanted to play ball at the college level. D2 my freshman year, and then D3 after that.
Were you guys good back when you played?
In Burnsville, we were.
Okay.
Not here.
Not
in
here.
college. No, we sucked. Yeah, I got a P2. But
we could wrap it up.
We could wrap it up. How long have we been going?
I think like hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you want to shout out your podcast, Bob?
For the last one that we covered?
The final podcast is coming.
Bobby's the host of a podcast, but it's about to
But we're
about
shutting
to end.
down. So with John Franey, I co-host a podcast called
He
The
was
Roasted
on
Christian.
2 episodes prior
Mm-hmm.
to this.
And so it's roastedchristian.com, just to clarify for the misconception that John came out there. I got to beat him up for that. He doesn't even know his own
Yeah,
URL.
come on, man.
Come on.
Domain.
Come on, bro. Do you even lift, bro? Like, what is that about? So, yeah, roastedchristian.com. We had a podcast. We've had about 3 seasons. We're going to be wrapping up our last podcast. News and notes, what we've learned, what was good, what was bad. And we'll kind of wrap it up sometime here in the next few weeks.
How many was it? Like
We
close
did 12
to 2
a
years?
season.
Or
Yeah, about 2 years.
It's a good run.
Yeah, 12 a season. We'll be at number 11, so we'll have for season 3. I think it will be a wrap up. It will be number 11. So
Nice.
But
Good deal.
thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on,
just
Bob.
stream of consciousness fun. I liked it. This
Yeah.
is good.
Awesome.
Super fun. Don't have to plan.
Well, this has been the Cowboys and Unicorns podcast. Have a good night.